Nigeria.
Honorable colleagues, I have examined and approved the votes and proceedings of Wednesday, 19th of November, 2025. We have a communication from the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria with her kind permission. I will read this message. It said, transmission of the Legal Practitioners Bill 2025 to the National Assembly for passage into law. The content of the letter reads as follows. I'm pleased to transmit to the House of Representatives for consideration and passage into law a bill proposing repeal and reenactment of the Legal Practitioners Act. The Legal Practitioners Bill repeals the Legal Practitioners Act, Cap L 11, Laws of the Federation, 2004, which was enacted into law in 1962. The draft bill introduces a new legal framework, strengthening the regulation of the legal profession in Nigeria and providing necessary reforms to enhance professional standards, disciplinary mechanisms, and public confidence in legal practice in Nigeria. The House of Representatives may wish to note that legal practitioners play a crucial role in upholding justice, the rule of law, and access to justice. However, evolving challenges with respect to regulating professional conduct, licensing of legal practitioners, as well as establishing appropriate disciplinary measures and legal practice standards necessitate a modern and comprehensive legal services framework. The bill makes provision for greater accountability, stronger professional ethics, and a more transparent regulatory structure for legal practitioners in Nigeria, all of which are critical in view of the growing domestic and international demand for legal services in this country. Specific provisions include the following. A, Section 1 provides the objectives of the proposed act, which include to promote and protect public interest, promote the rule of law, and improve access to justice and increase public understanding of the legal rights and duties of citizens. B, Section 2 establishes the core principles guiding legal practitioners, including integrity, confidentiality, ethical standards, and duty to client and court. C, Section 3 establishes the body of benchers charged with the responsibility of admitting eligible pensions to the bar. D, Section 17 establishes the Legal Practitioners Disciplinary Committee with jurisdiction to consider and determine cases of misconduct by legal practitioners, while Section 18 provides for a range of penalties, including suspension, restriction, reprimand, and removal from the role. E, Section 25 to 26 introduce a 2-year mandatory pupillage and compulsory continuing professional development for legal practitioners. F, Section 27 and 29 provide for the inspection and accreditation of law officers, issuers of practicing licenses, and the use of official stamps and seals to authenticate legal documents. While I trust that the House of Representatives will consider the request expeditiously, please accept, Right Honorable Speaker, the assurances of my highest regard. Signed, Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Honorable colleagues, today in our midst are students coming from the National Association of Rigway Students, the national body. They are here to observe our proceedings. Please, can you rise for recognition? Honorable colleagues, please, can we appreciate their presence? You are most welcome. You may sit down, please. We also have students coming from Abuja City Journal. They are also here to observe our proceedings. You are most welcome. Please, members, can we appreciate them? Can we appreciate them, please, honorable colleagues? Thank you for coming. Please, you may sit down. The Leader of the House, please, can you move for us to suspend our rules to enable some visitors coming to observe our proceedings to come in?
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, who has just been awarded an honorary doctorate degree in legislative practice by the Enugu State University of Science and Technology. You won't clap for your speaker, who just got a new honorary doctorate. Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I rise to move that we suspend sections of our rules in order to, pursuant to Order 6, 4, 1, and 2, admit some important visitors to the House. I so move.
Minority Leader, please, can you second?
Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, I rise to second the motion brought under Order 6, Rule 4, to enable us admit non-members into the Parliament. I so second.
Those in support of this motion should say aye. Those against should say nay. The ayes have it. Chief Whip, please, can you usher them in? Honorable colleagues, on a very sad note, we received a message coming from Honorable Dr. Princess Adeshola Ayula Alebeji, member representing Ikeni, Shagamu, Remo North Federal Constituency of Ogun State, and the subject matter is in respect of the demise of Chief Segun Awolowo, and his message reads as follows. It is with deep sorrow that I write to formally notify this Honorable House of the painful passing away of Chief Segun Awolowo, distinguished grandson of the late Chief Obafemi Awolowo, one of Nigeria's most revered statesmen and patriarch of progressive leadership. Chief Segun Awolowo was a consummate public servant, a bridge builder, and a proud son of Ikene local government area of Ogun State, whose life reflected integrity, patriotism, and dedication to national development. His death is not only a great loss to the Owolowo family and the people of Ogun State, but also to our nation, which benefited immensely from his intellect, humility, and service. Mr. Speaker, in honor of his legacy and the profound impact he made on our nation, I respectfully request that this House observe a minute silence for the peaceful repose of his soul. This symbolic gesture will reflect our collective respect and solidarity with the bereaved family at this moment of great loss. Mr. Speaker, I humbly request that this condolence be read on the floor of this honorable House, and we stand in solidarity with the bereaved family during this difficult time. May the Almighty grant his soul peaceful rest and comfort those he left behind. Please accept, Mr. Speaker, the assurances of my highest regards. Signed, Honorable Dr. Princess Adeshola Ayola Alebeji. Honorable colleagues, shall we rise for a minute silence, please? May his soul rest in peace. Honorable colleagues, distinguished guests, fellow Nigerians, we meet at a time of unprecedented national challenges. This moment requires calm heads, careful judgment, and thoughtful action. No rush or sensational responses. The decision of this House to suspend all other matters to focus on national security is therefore neither symbolic nor procedural. It reflects the seriousness of the moment and our duty to speak for our constituents. Before we proceed, I recognize our guests in the gallery, from officials from the United States Embassy in Nigeria are present with us. Their presence highlights the importance of ongoing dialogue between our two nations. We also welcome the Speaker of the Parliament of St. Kitts and Nevis, Right Honorable Lenien Blanchard, along with members of Parliament and Cabinet Ministers. You are most welcome. Please, can you stand up for recognition? Thank you. I recognize representatives of civil society who continue to champion peace, justice, and accountability in our country. We thank all our guests for joining us today. The last few weeks have been difficult for our country. Communities have suffered severe attacks, including killings and multiple abductions, targeting civilians, security personnel, and other vulnerable groups. These incidents occurred in rapid succession and affected different parts of the country, underscoring the scale and coordination of the threat we face. The attack in Kebbi State shocked the nation. The abduction of students in Niger State caused deep distress, The kidnapping of worshippers in Kwara State brought fear to many communities. Families are grieving. Citizens are anxious. These incidents remind us of the scale of the threat we face and the seriousness of the work before us. Acting squarely on firm directives of the President, our security forces responded swiftly and courageously. The President's decision to postpone his scheduled and widely publicized trip to the G20 summit in South Africa in order to confront the current challenges directly set the tone for a more coordinated national response. He continues to receive continuous briefings from the security chiefs, and he has instructed that police personnel attached to VIPs be withdrawn and redeployed to frontline duties. These measures shaped the swift rescue of the worshippers in Kwara State and the successful recovery of several abducted students in Niger State. Operations continue across all the affected communities with renewed determination to reunite all missing persons with their families and to bring those responsible to justice. This resolve is entirely consistent with the President's remarks at the Arewa Consultative Forum at the weekend, where he stated that nothing troubles him more gravely than the security situation in Nigeria, especially in the northern region. His leadership thus far reflects both political responsibility and moral urgency. The House recognizes the courage and commitment of our security personnel who serve under exceptionally difficult conditions. Many have paid the ultimate price in the line of duty, and their sacrifice will not be forgotten. We extend our deepest sympathies to the families who have lost loved ones in the course of these operations, and we will honor their pain, strength, and resilience. As a mark of respect, may we rise and observe a minute's silence for the repose of those who departed us along this journey of protecting the property and lives of Nigerians. Shall we rise again, please? May the soul of the departed rest in peace. Honorable colleagues, we stand firmly behind all ongoing operations and support every lawful measure aimed at delivering justice and restoring safety to our communities. Yesterday, I visited Kebbi State with a delegation from this House. We received a comprehensive briefing from the Governor and the State Executive Council. We met eyewitnesses to the attack. We spoke with families of the abducted students and with community leaders. The visit was important, not only for the facts it revealed, but for the human dimension it brought to our collective understanding of this tragedy. Parents spoke with distress. Communities expressed fear. Local leaders demonstrated strength and resilience. Their experiences must shape our deliberations today. The visit reaffirmed the need for seriousness, empathy, and unity in our discussions. The event of the past week revealed a deeply troubling escalation in violence across several states. The various attacks are not only coordinated but designed to destabilize our country. They aim to create the impression that violent groups can act without restraint. They focus on soft and vulnerable targets. Their purpose is to instill fear, weaken public confidence, and give the illusion of being everywhere at once. Nigeria must reject this tactic. We must resist fear and stand firm against those who rely on cruelty and spectacle to advance their evil ideologies. Alongside the violence, another threat is emerging. False information spreads rapidly. Unverified claims and fake images can escalate tension and undermine security efforts. Misleading posts on social media can inflame communities, cause panic, and erode trust in institutions. I urge Nigerians to rely on official sources and reputable news outlets. I also ask members of this House to be cautious about what we share. Our world must promote stability, not add confusion. Honorable colleagues, since President Bola Ahmed Tinubu assumed office, his administration has taken steps to reform the security architecture. There has been a shift in coordination among the services and a more deliberate effort to regain the initiative. Evidence shows that these reforms have produced results. Thousands of captives have been freed. High-ranking commanders linked to violent networks have been eliminated. Millions of displaced people have returned to their communities. There was also a measurable decline in some categories of mass abductions and kidnappings. These gains reminded us that progress is possible when strategy, coordination, and political will converge. We must, however, accept that certain forms of violence have resurfaced in different parts of the country and are evolving rapidly. The roots of this resurgence lie both within and beyond our borders. The Sahel has undergone significant upheaval. Changes of government in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger Republic have created ungoverned spaces that armed groups now exploit. Illegal arms trafficking has increased. Nigeria, therefore, faces domestic and transnational pressures that require an integrated response. Amid these challenges, international developments also deserve our careful attention. The Nigeria Religious Freedom Accountability Act of 2025 was introduced in the United States Congress, which places Nigeria on the list of countries of particular concern. The bill suggests that Nigeria permits or encourages religious persecution. Members may recall that this House extensively debated and unanimously rejected the claims. The government of Nigeria does not and will never support or sponsor violence against its own citizens. We conveyed our resolution to the United States Congress, the Department of State, and the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom. It is therefore important to restate Nigeria's actual security reality. Over the past 15 years, the government has invested significant resources in confronting insurgency and widespread violence. It is true that in some communities, Christians have been targeted, just as Muslims communities have suffered similar attacks in others. These acts have been carried out by violent groups pursuing their own agendas. They do not reflect the policy or practice of the Nigerian state. Terrorism, banditry, communal clashes, and extremist violence have brought suffering to Nigerians of all faiths. Our Constitution guarantees freedom of religion, and every institution of government remains committed to protecting that right. With this context in mind, Nigeria continues to welcome partnership and constructive engagements. At the same time, we cannot accept conclusions that do not reflect the complexities of our security challenges. Our response to the Religious Freedom Accountability Bill has been calm and measured. We are mindful of our long-standing relationship with the United States. I wish to affirm that dialogue is more productive than recrimination. As highlighted in a recent meeting between the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the United States Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, we are prepared to collaborate with partners on intelligence sharing, counterterrorism training, surveillance technology, and the disruption of financial networks linked to violent groups. Nigeria's security history carries its own hard truth, but it also contains moments when partners step forward at decisive hours. During his presidency, from 2017 to 2021, President Donald Trump broke with the hesitation of earlier administrations. He authorized the sale of the A-29 Super Tucano aircraft, a platform that transformed aspects of our counterterrorism operations. At a time when Nigeria struggled to access essential equipment, he was willing to do what others would not do. That decision mattered. It saved lives, strengthened our capacities and our capabilities, and signaled that Nigeria's fight against terror was not ours alone to bear. This history gives particular weight to his renewed interest in Nigeria today. It is an encouraging signal that the door may once again be open for deeper security cooperation, free from all constraints, more attuned to Nigeria's realities, and shaped by mutual respect. A more confident engagement from the United States, championed by President Trump, will support Nigeria's efforts to modernize equipment, reinforce training, and strengthen accountability systems. Nigeria welcomes these prospects and is prepared to work transparently and responsibly with American institutions. Our sovereignty remains non-negotiable, yet partnership, especially when extended in good faith, can allow both countries to face shared threats with greater clarity and purpose. My dear honorable colleagues, as we begin this session, I want to make our purpose clear. This session is not convened to attack the government or any individual or to assign blame. We have seen far too much of that in recent weeks, both at home and abroad. This session has a more constructive purpose. It is intended to provide a frank and calm assessment of our security situation and to support the work of the President and the Executive. Our goal is to offer practical recommendations that strengthen the national response. I wish to remind members that today's debate will be conducted in accordance with the House standing orders. These rules emphasize discipline, decorum, and full respect for the chamber. Members wishing to speak should forward their written submissions through the designated floor clerks. Honorable colleagues, Nigerians expect leadership that rises above partisanship and speak to one voice at moments like this. Our work debate today must reinforce our commitment to the safety of every citizen and support the efforts of the President and the Executive. This is not a party affair, but a national discourse. Our contributions should be tailored to strengthen Nigeria's collective response to these attacks. Above all, our conduct must show that these acts of violence would not weaken our resolve or undermine our unity. I thank you all for your attention. May God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Order, please. Honorable colleagues, please be seated, please.
Honorable colleagues, at this junction, it's my pleasure to invite the House Leader, Professor Julius Oevere, to make a presentation of the security review pack of the country. Leader of the House, you have the floor.
Thank you, great Speaker. Distinguished colleagues, I'm Professor Julius Oevere.
Please, just a minute, Leader.
DSSRS.
Please, members, anyone who has a submission, a motion, please approach the clerk and give your submission in writing. We'll recognize you in due course to speak. Thank you. Please go ahead.
Thank you, sir. And I represent the very good people of Owan Federal Constituency in Edo State. Mr. Speaker, you know, a time comes when a people must look at the past, the present, and collectively decide how they want to go into the future. Mr. Speaker.
Order, please. Order, please. Members, order, please. Please.
I think I would prefer to wait and let them finish.
Let's do it orderly, please.
It's important that
Please.
they listen carefully to what we're going to be saying. Because it's rowdy.
Be attentive, please. Honorable Salami, please, you are the monitor on that row. Maintain orderliness. Honorable Alasan Ado, please, can you be our monitor overall?
Thank you
Please go
very
ahead,
much.
Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think there are certain parameters that we're all in agreement on. First, we all agree that there is a direct link between security and development, or if you like, security, growth, and development. Without security, you cannot promote growth, much less sustainable development. We also agreed on the fact that to deal with insecurity, leadership, focused, committed, patriotic leadership is important at every level, local government, state, federal. Mr. Speaker, we also agreed that this time, just now, is a time to think differently, for critical thinking on how do we deal with the question that has lingered for well over 15
Order,
years.
please.
We agree that also that the necessary political will is important to drive both kinetic and non-kinetic approaches to securing the nation.
Honorable members, please find your seats. Please, can you be seated, please?
Similarly,
My brother, please can you excuse Honorable Adodo Guan? Go find your seat, please. Honorable Adodo Guan, please. Honorable Saidu, please
Honorable
can you
Kwe.
find your seats?
Honorable Kwe.
well, similarly,
Honorable Kapilat, can you find your seat, please?
I believe that we also agreed that insecurity in Nigeria has far-reaching implications for West Africa, and
Honorable
Africa,
Tukura.
even the world.
Honorable Tukura, take your seat, please. Chief Whip, be orderly.
finally,
This is the
there
overall
is-
monitor.
Agreement that all Nigerians irrespective of religion, region, gender, or whatever location, desire peace, stability, in order to reach the highest points of their productive and creative abilities. We're in agreement here on this issue. But what are the trends and what are the realities that we face as a people? We recognize that today we face multifaceted security threats across the country. We also recognize the displacement of families and even communities. Fatalities remain high, reaching up to 9,500 in 2024, and these are reported and recorded cases, could be higher. Even the Global Terrorism Index places Nigeria sixth as the sixth most impacted country globally by terrorism. Now it is not just a question of
Honorable
Boko Haram.
Benson, can you come back to your seat, please?
We have the Islamic State West Africa province, ISWAP.
Sit down, please.
And other
Sit properly.
copycat gangs ravaging different parts of the country. We have experienced mass killings, kidnappings for ransom, banditry, criminal violence. Today, it's reported by ACLED that we have over 24,000 violent incidents between December 2023 and November 2024. Now, this is frightening. What has been the general response from government? And the pictures I will be painting is a broad canvas. The specificities in your respective communities and constituencies may differ. But there has been consistent, intensified operations and deployment of troops. We've experienced recruitment and training, change of service chiefs in order to ginger the leadership of the security agencies, massive increase in defense spending and acquisition of military platforms, including helicopters and drones, the attack helicopters. The speaker mentioned even heavy expenses to acquire Tucano jets. And the last time I checked, I understand we have about 8 of these. The use of new technology. There is now a recognition that just a direct military engagement may not solve this problem. There is an urgent need for what is now popularly called the non-kinetic, because at the end of the day, some communities and individuals are involved in encouraging insecurity in different forms. The government has tried in arresting, in prosecuting, rehabilitating, reintegrating some of the insurgents in different locations. Mr. Speaker, in the Northeast, for example, both Boko Haram and ISWAP continue to terrorize communities without letting up, in spite of engagement.
Honorable Leke.
The Lake Chad Basin and Sambisa Forest remain launching pads for sporadic attacks and criminal activity. Terrorists continue to attack soft targets, particularly farmers and fishermen, particularly on the Lake Chad. In spite of this, government, talking broadly, has responded with heavy military offensive, with thousands surrendering. Precision airstrikes continue, but we still have up to 1.5 million persons in IDP camps. The Northeast Development Commission, just to mention one agency, is contributing massively to rehabilitation and reintegration. Through the Operation Safe Corridor, many have returned home. But insecurity remains of concern. Similarly, in the Northwest, what people used to talk about cattle rustling and so on and so forth has become what is now referred to as full-blown banditry by criminal gangs, now designated as terrorist groups by the Nigerian government. They continue to terrorize villages, encourage highway ambush, and robbery. They continue to operate from forest enclaves like Rugu and Kuyambana. April, May 2023 and April 2024, over 2.2 million incidents of kidnapping. Again, these are not including failed efforts. The government is not relaxing. It is also responding with joint military operations, Operation Hardin Daji and Operation Thunder Strike, for example, have been launched to respond to this. While it is recognized that in this zone the military is overstretched, recruitment continues, and the use of the T-129 attack helicopters continues to have significant effect in dislodging them. Local peace building, peace committees, and the mobilization of marginalized young people is also continuing. If you take the North Central, ethnic and farmer-herder clashes, but they suffer from what is called the spillover effect of insecurity from the Northwest and the Northeast. As they are dislodged in both regions, they move down and come to the North Central. And we have witnessed and listened to unbelievable and unimaginable killings in the North Central. Now, the government has also responded there, not only by deploying some service chiefs, security chiefs to that zone, but also launched Operation Wild Stroke. And the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps launched the Agro Rangers to protect and guide farmers so they can return to their farms. Of course, farmers have been displaced, communities deserted, there's a food crisis, the economy faces devastation. In the Southeast, quickly, separatist unrest, criminality, and weaponization of legitimate agitations continue. IPOB and Eastern Security Network and the sit-at-home order, attacks on public infrastructure like INEC offices and police stations. The unknown government put fear in the minds of people, affecting their businesses through kidnappings, robbery, and assassinations. All kinds of ragtag copycat groups calling themselves vigilantes and avengers emerge, with far-reaching implications for the local economy in the Southeast. The Nnamdi Kanu issue remains a sore point, and I'm happy to see that on this floor, we have 42 members who have signed a document and addressed a press conference, including the Deputy Speaker who has issued a statement calling for a political solution to the problem. Over the Ebubeagu regional security does not seem to have had much impact, but it reflects a commitment by state governments to also respond. And I think if the Southeast Development Commission were to come aboard, it will work just like the Northeast Development Commission. In the South-South, militancy has reduced, so is insurgency, with no pipeline bombings recorded. This is because of the role of ex-militants and the dialogue with government. The Tantita security arrangement has secured most of our pipelines, and this has enabled oil production to go up. Crude oil theft continues with sophisticated systems, illegal bunkering, piracy in the Gulf of Guinea, cultism and gang violence in the South-South, kidnappings and community attacks. The response has been robust by government. The NDDC continues to put up a holistic approach trying to empower communities and the youth in the zone. So is the amnesty program and the HIPREP. So again, if the South-South Development Commission comes on board, that response from the bottom up would deny the people involved in insurgency recruits. The Navy in the South-South is doing well with the Total Maritime Strategy, which is technology-based, and cooperating with regional navies to ensure that bunkering is controlled. Yet, the South-South continues to suffer from environmental pollution, gas flaring, the unresolved Ogoni issue, and massive youth unemployment. Finally, the Southwest, apparently the most stable region in the country today, the states have invested heavily in regional security, and their Moteco security arrangement appears to be doing fairly well. Urban security challenges continue, with robberies, cults, civil arrests in urban areas.
Honorable Jimmy Benson, please can you approach the chair?
Weaponized headers and copycat gangs continue to terrorize some communities in Edo and Delta. But community security is taken more seriously, and the agitation for state police to build on effective neighborhood watch, as in the case of Lagos, illegal arms influx via the ports and borders, and the use of traditional institutions to deal with unrest. Mr. Speaker, this is a broad canvas showing that in the 6 geopolitical zones of this country, there is none that is left out, but there is none where there is no government response as well. In the House and National Assembly, we have equally responded to the issue of insecurity with countless motions and bills to restructure the police force, to amend the Nigeria Army Act, and so on and so forth. We've appropriated more money for defense, and we've held several consultations with service chiefs in order to better understand the challenges they face. The House committees on security agencies have come up with the following solutions, which we've tried to implement. The modernization of defense architecture by amending the Armed Forces Act, which has gone through second reading, and I believe would help. They've also talked about the need to sharpen the roles of service chiefs, promote coordination, and reduce or eliminate rivalry between the agencies, promote accountability. The recent announcement about the need to withdraw
Honorable Leke.
the police from VIPs.
Honorable Leke Joseph, please.
And the need to promote intelligence gathering at the community level. Mr. Speaker, the government's emphasis on the welfare for security officers is critical to their performance in the field. And I believe particularly the police and the civil defense forces. Let me wrap up by stressing on what must be done or what needs to be done better. At the beginning, I talked about the need for political will and the need for consistency in policy and programs. Mr. Speaker.
Order, please.
Government is still committed to naming and sanctioning the financiers of insurgency and banditry. From what we learned, investigations are going on before these identities are revealed to the public. The prosecution of bandits and terrorists that are arrested is continuing. We also, in government, decide that there's a need to leverage more on new technology. Security of schools, and what has happened recently shows that there's very little security in spite of the Safe Schools project, even just to do perimeter fencing. But it is not the responsibility of the federal government alone.
Please.
The states and local governments must come into this, and I believe that from this House, through budgeting, we can lay direction for states and local governments to put in perimeter fencing in all schools, particularly primary and secondary. A clear victim support mechanism is important. Institutionalization of peace-building systems using local institutions. Traditional rulers have demonstrated their willingness to work with government to do this. Some of these bandits live in communities. They are not spirits, and people know them. But people are afraid to identify them publicly. The government must also continue, and is willing to continue, the mop-up of weapons. So far, over 150 assorted forms of weapons have been recovered from the south of Nigeria. Discouraging ransom payments to bandits. I know it's difficult, it's easier to say. But when you pay these ransoms, they use them to acquire more weapons and kidnap more and invade more communities. So we have to strike a balance as to where we stand on the issue. But government is of the position not to pay ransom to bandits and criminals. Institutionalization of the early warning system. Government continues to work on this. And they welcome the recent understanding between the United States and the Nigerian delegation led by the National Security Advisor. Of course, the details are not going to be spelled out in public, but we rest assured that the government has every intention to build on that understanding that has been recently publicized and reached, all in the interest of dealing with security. Finally, Mr. Speaker, the issue of security in Nigeria is not something that will be solved in Aso Rock alone or in this parliament alone. All Nigerians have to enroll into an agenda, a program, a movement, and a commitment to deal with insecurity. And if we do not do that in our respective areas of influence, we cannot effectively engage with these bandits and criminals. Those involved in most of these are our children, they are our constituents. So the way we deploy our own projects, our own resources, our relationship with institutions and structures, religious institutions, traditional institutions, have far-reaching implications for whether we are able to address the question of security or insecurity in our respective constituencies. Mr. Speaker, I believe that when the relevant committees speak and my other colleagues give their lived experiences in their communities, we will get more hands-on situation of what is going on in the country. But suffice to say, the government is 100% ready to take suggestions from members of the House in order to continue the fight against insurgency in Nigeria. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Leader. Let's hear from the Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My very dear colleagues, my name is Kingsley Chinda. I represent Tobiabo Federal Constituency. I'm from Rivers State. My dear colleagues, we're here this morning to discuss a very, very important issue that has bedeviled us as a nation. Perhaps let me start by reminding us why we are all seated here as members of the National Assembly. In so doing, I would quickly take us back to the quotation from Thomas Hobbes many decades ago, I think sometime in 1651, when he said that man, the life of man is solitary, it's poor, brutish, nasty, and short.
Order, please. Alazado.
We can ask ourselves a clear question. Does this not appear to be the life of a Nigerian today? Replete with fear, uncertainty. We can no longer travel by road in our own country. In fact, when your relative or anybody that is close to you attempts to do that, you will be in prayers until such a person arrives. It is because of this situation that men agreed to give up their sovereignty and set up a government. It is that sovereignty that Nigerians have given up that has brought only 360 men together to sit here and ensure that we protect the lives and property of all Nigerians. Let me quickly refer us to our constitutional provision, section 14, subsection 2B, which provides the essence, the purport, and the purpose of government. That is protection of lives and property of citizens. In so doing, as a Christian, I will further refer you to a Bible quotation. I'll take you to Matthew chapter 5, verse 13, which tells us that we are the salt of the earth. But the Bible says that if a salt loses its saltness, of what use is it? It is good to be trampled upon. It becomes useless and no longer salt. I use this to analyze, considering our major function. And by the way, remember, my dear colleagues, that government, elementary government is made up of three arms: the executive, the legislature, where we fall in, and the judiciary. So when we talk about government, we are fully involved as members of the executive arm. And so when we point one finger, 4 points at us. First, if we cannot protect the lives and property of Nigerians as enshrined in our Constitution, are we worthy to continue to sit as a parliament? I'm not saying that all hopes are lost. No. There is room for remedy. But we must see this as a national tax and be selfless about it. This is no time for religion. This is no time for political party. This is the time for us to talk about our own lives and existence. We are given opportunity out of a country of over 200 million, as we have in the figures, which might not also be correct because of lack of data, or adequate data in our country. And you are among 360 that is saddled with the responsibility. How well have you performed that responsibility? That's the question that we are called upon to ask ourselves this morning. Insecurity is ravaging the entire country. Yes, the world is becoming a global village. And so if we are unable to secure our country, other countries will be concerned because they will be affected. If Nigeria is classed as a country of particular concern, as a parliament, I think what we are gathered here this morning is to seek for solution to remove Nigeria from that classification. And I pray that the Almighty will give us the wisdom to achieve that. Now, looking at the causes of insecurity in our country, first I will caution us that we must eschew completely the disunity that appears to be breeding, whether there is genocide, religious genocide, or not. We begin to look at it from the angle of Christians and Muslims. To whose advantage? When we are not united, to whose benefit? Is it in our own interest? We cannot fight this battle without unity. We cannot also succeed in this battle if we deny obvious facts. Let me start by asking, are there religious killings in Nigeria? The answer is yes. But is that the major cause of insecurity in our country? The answer is also no. Whilst there are religious killings, it will amount to painting the insecurity issue with a single brush to say that that is the only reason why we have insecurity. Today in our country, you have the economic aspect of insecurity, where people, for economic reasons, will attack communities, kill, maim, displace entire community in order to access the wealth that is within that place. And that's why you can see displaced areas. People live in IDP. Economic operation is going on there. As a government, do we say that we are not aware? And what are we doing? What about the political aspect? Incidentally, we find ourselves in that field. We are all politicians. Because we want to assume political power, we want to do everything to displace the opponent. You make the entire government ungovernable. Bring in people from outside the shores of this country because our borders are porous. We only have boundaries on the map. On ground, Nigeria lacks clear boundaries. They are not protected, they are open. We bring them in to strengthen us politically. And managing them thereafter became a problem. There is the political angle to it. And we must tell ourselves the truth. So that if we are managing the problems, we know how to manage them. And like I have said, you also have the religious angle. There are religious bodies, the ISIS or ISWAP and all that. They are not sent by Nigerians, but they have their target, they have their own vision. Perhaps their belief. All you need to do is to not to remove the doctrination that they have already. Because they could believe in that yes, anybody that is not a Muslim must be killed. If that is their belief, and they are convinced, we need to do a reorientation to change that belief. My dear colleagues, the tax is Herculean, very heavy, because we cannot pretend that we do not have insecurity problems in this country. And the solution ought to come from us, all of us seated here, not from Nigerians outside here. But we must own up to the truth. How well are we doing? How well are we tackling this problem? When I hear people praise government, government is doing well. Are we sincere? Government is still sleeping. Nothing fundamental has been done. Nothing. We cannot continue with the fire brigade approach. Must we wait until our children are kidnapped before we take steps? And when 20 are kidnapped, we recover 2. We beat our chest that we are achieving. What about the 18? Dear colleagues, we recall, there is no week that this chamber has not discussed the issue of insecurity. Not 1 week without a motion on insecurity. And at the end of the day, all we do is observe 1 minute silence. I think that the time has come for us to unite, if not as a country, as parliamentarians. Remove the toga of religion, remove the toga of political parties, and wear the toga of Nigeria. Whoever is affected should not be our concern, but we must salvage our country. We must salvage ourselves. We must begin to go home freely. We must find solution to ensure that Nigerians sleep with their 2 eyes closed. Firstly, let me suggest that the time has come for us to start looking at having a national border force. We should. When we hear countries talk about fencing their borders, sometimes we laugh over it. It sounds funny. But it is not. We do not have a border force in Nigeria. And I think it is our role as parliamentarians to quickly, as a solution, come up with a bill and ensure that that bill passes with the speed of light to begin to protect our borders. Not just by physical protection. Like I said, the world is a global village today. There are technologies that will help us. A border force that is based on technology.
Honorable David, please can you find your seat? Honorable David, Kalambaina. Honorable Badao, please can you find your seat? Honorable Gadi, please find your seat. Honorable Gadi, please.
We also have before us the constitution amendment that is going on. Security is prominent. My dear colleagues, we don't have an option than to go back to community policing or state policing. We must begin to secure our country from every community. From every community. And as a parliament, we must also begin to rise to our oversight functions. We must begin to stand our grounds. In the interest of our people.
Honorable Sada, Honorable Zainab Gemba, please can you approach the chair?
And our own interest. Mr. Speaker, my dear colleagues, a lot more on the issue of insecurity, which we cannot perhaps say facing the camera. So let us invite all the security chiefs, all, and have a closed-door meeting with them, where we can clearly talk to them, tell them the feelings of Nigerian people, ask for facts and figures, take decisions that will have strong legislative backing. You will recall that in the past, we have had to give timelines. Well, I will say, as a member of parliament, that my heart is heavy and bleeds for Nigeria. I'm not happy. I see it as divine that we are all called to serve at this time. Because I asked why. Why at this time? But we are called to serve at this time, and we should take the challenge. We have the ability. We have the ability to solve this problem. We have the ability to make the difference, but we must remove tribe, religion, selfishness, pride, and anything that will prevent us from succeeding.
Honorable Wase.
And see ourselves as one.
Honorable Wase.
I want to thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank you, my dear colleagues, for this opportunity. And I pray that the Almighty God will give us the wisdom to ensure that we contribute towards stabilizing this country and indeed the world at large. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chinda. It's time for the Deputy Speaker to make his contribution.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Honorable colleagues, my name is Benjamin Okezie-Karl. I represent the good people of Nigeria, starting from Bende Federal Constituency. Mr. Speaker, I'm from Abia State. I rise today to lend my voice to this all-important debate.
Honorable Igarue, Honorable Inolim, please approach the chair.
This all-important debate on the security situation of our country. Let me start by thanking you, Mr. Speaker, for always being innovative, and the leadership of this House for being innovative when issues like this come up, to think about having a section like this where all of us will be heard. For granting us this platform, I thank you very much. And I thank the members for agreeing for one day of our section to be dedicated to this, and for coming in your numbers from your various constituencies. It goes to show that the Parliament truly, truly cares. But today, honorable colleagues and Nigerians who are watching, it's not a day of display of eloquence. This is a day of specifically mentioning where our problems are, what we think should be done as Parliament, because we have always argued that the Parliament remains the solution hub for our nation. And so, as you all know, Nigerian security crisis as it is at the moment demands urgent action. And I've been able to put down one or two things so that I will not forget in my presentation. I also save time for some of you who want to deliberate on this. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, it is my core finding, and I'm sure that of others, that Nigeria possesses strong deterrent laws. We don't have paucity of laws. We have strong laws. But what we suffer is weak institutional implementation, inadequate funding, transparency, and misalignment between policy and execution. So the solution requires structural legislative reform, not merely reactive military responses. Since we are not in the military, we are a legislative arm of government. We must prefer legislative solution to the gaps that we have observed. Mr. Speaker, I will break my speech into these parts. Number one is situational analysis, which I will break into escalating internal threats as well as external sovereign threats. The next one is legislative gap and strategic failures that we have. The third will be priority legislative agenda, what we need to do in the next 6 months as Parliament. And the next will be what are the messaging pillars that I would like to pass as a member of Parliament And finally, I would like to address possible challenges and arguments that will be against my position on these issues. I promise to make them as brief as possible. On situational analysis, Mr. Speaker, or situational assessment, we have multidimensional security crisis. On the side of escalating internal threats, we have on one hand banditry and kidnapping. Number one, indiscriminate kidnapping targeting schools, places of worship, and communities across Zamfara, Katsina, Kebbi, and Sokoto states, amongst others. Recent incidents, abduction of schoolgirls in Kebbi, dozens of worshippers kidnapped from Zungu Mosque in Zamfara, Catholic priests abducted in Anambra in Southeast. Number three on that is critical development. Armed groups now imposing parallel governance structure, demanding 100 million naira in taxes from communities in Safe, local government of Zamfara state, representing a shift from criminality to insurgent administrative control. On international scrutiny, the U.S. designated Nigeria as country of particular concern, the CPC, which have been mentioned here and again, and also beautifully in your speech. The proposed Nigerian Religious Freedom Accountability Act by the U.S. Congress threatens sanction against Nigeria, targeting mainly 12 northern governors and all the rest of them. The news is everywhere. Let us talk about institutional weakness as part of the assessment. Nigerian police force is constrained by centralized command, inadequate funding, and lack of accountability. Number two is military modernization, drones, potential jet acquisition, proceeding without published defense policy on robust legal framework. The next is weak border control, which have been mentioned by the minority leader here, and interagency cooperation, enabling illicit arms and terrorism financing. Mr. Speaker, on external sovereignty threat, the U.S. political pressure is there. Number one, President Trump threatened military strike against Nigeria over Christian killing. Number two, analysts view this as political theater with low operational feasibility. It creates diplomatic and reputational risk. And also Nigeria must assert sovereignty while demonstrating domestic commitment to justice. We will respect our allies, but we will maintain the dignity of our sovereignty. That is the position of the Parliament. Mr. Speaker, the second one I mentioned I will be discussing is legislative gaps and strategic failures. Number one on that is amnesty problem. Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, despite strong anti-kidnapping laws like life imprisonment, death penalty for kidnapping, the practice continues because it is alleged that government entities negotiate with bandits and pay ransom. That is one of the things that the House must investigate. Security analysts confirm that amnesty deals and peace negotiation, they legitimize violence. They embolden armed groups and undermine rule of law. Documented pattern across Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto shows stage ceremonies where captives are released and rusty weapons surrendered, followed by rapid restoration or resumption of violence. What then is the legislative solution on that? The legislative solution required there is to ban unstructured amnesty negotiation and ransom payment by any government entity. Mandate criminal justice enforcement over expediency. Number two on that list is police funding crisis. Mr. Speaker, the Nigerian police force suffers from the following. Number one, low budgetary allocation with incomplete and late disbursement. Number two is unaccounted state government and private donation creating corruption channels. Number three is no transparent auditing mechanism. And this is not starting with this administration. It has been there before now. So what is the impact of this? The impact of this is that operational paralysis is observed, inability to plan effectively is observed, and perpetuation of inefficiency is also recorded. What then is the legislative solution? Because for every problem, there must be a solution. The legislative solution here is to mandate sustained, predictable funding, require rigorous record keeping, and audit all Nigerian police funds, including donation. The number 3 is centralized policing model failure. Federal-only policing model cannot meet diverse localized security needs of 36 states and 774 local governments, Mr. Speaker. Let's tell ourselves the truth. Whether we call it state police, whether we call it community police, whether we call it local government police, the need to decentralize has become very necessary. Some argue for the amendment of Section 214 of the Constitution and the second schedule. Some say leave it as it is. Whatever it is important that we consider that. The next is critical sequencing. State police reform must allow Nigerian police force accountability reform to avoid replicating dysfunctional structure at the state level. The next is drone warfare regulatory lag. Nigeria's military successfully deploys indigenous Amebo Gulma and foreign CH-4 combat drones. They've done that successfully for precision strike. But there is, Mr. Speaker, today, no legal framework governing ethical use, accountability for civilian casualties or operational transparency. There is none, sir. It's one of the legislative gaps that we must look at. And the risk is that potential human rights violations expose Nigeria to international legal scrutiny and undermine tactical gains. What then is the legislative solution that is required? We should enact comprehensive UAS operations and oversight act, known as Drone Act, mandating compliance with international targeting laws, accountability mechanisms, and independent investigation of civilian casualty incidents. That is how we can solve that problem. Let me go to my number 3 because I say it's 5 before I round up. The number 3 is priority legislative agenda. What do we need to do in our phase 1 between now and 6 months? What is the foundation of what we need to do? What is the crisis response that the parliament need to look into? Number 1 is anti-banditry resolution. So legally prohibit ransom negotiation and mandate criminal justice process over amnesty programs. The key provisions are as follows, Mr. Speaker. Number 1, criminal penalties for government officials who negotiate ransom or authorize unstructured amnesty deals. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, is mandate prosecution through criminal justice system for all banditry suspects. Number 3, establish transparent critical criteria for any future disarmament. There is no criteria for disarmament, for demobilization and reintegration program, following proper conflict resolution protocol, not ad hoc political deals. We need to also create parliamentary oversight committee to monitor implementation. Mr. Speaker, we cannot negotiate with those who kidnap our children. Mr. Speaker, those who terrorize our community, we should not negotiate with them. That is the truth. Mr. Speaker, the next is police reform. Number 1, the objective is to ensure transparent, predictable Nigerian police force funding and regulate state-private donation. Move policing to concurrent lease if this House so decide, enabling state and local government to have a say there. And in doing that, we should provide safeguards to be able to guide that. Mr. Speaker, I say so because a police force that cannot plan beyond the next paycheck cannot protect this nation. This new plan guarantees our police the predictable, transparent funding that they need while ensuring every naira is accounted for. State police is not a silver bullet, Mr. Speaker. It is a necessary evolution of our federal system, and we should be looking at that decentralization. These are the core message of my suggestion, Mr. Speaker, the core message pillars. Number one is legislative leadership, not reactive politics. For too long, the National Assembly has been viewed as reactive on security matters. Today, we assert our constitutional role as the primary lawmaking body of this nation. These measures represent proactive, structured reform, not political theater. Sovereignty with accountability. Nigeria will never cede sovereignty to external actors, but sovereignty also demands responsibility. We will protect our citizens, prosecute perpetrators, demonstrate to the world that Nigeria solves Nigerian problem. From militarized response to institutional reform, Mr. Speaker, drones and jets have their place, but no amount of military hardware can substitute for accountable policing, for transparent funding, and for criminal justice system that actually delivers justice. The legislative agenda addresses root causes, not just symptoms. Mr. Speaker, there will be the argument as I round up. Many will say state police will be abused by governors. Let me respond by saying that is exactly why we are building in safeguards into this law, if we choose to do that. Many will say banning amnesty negotiation is too rigid. My response, Mr. Speaker, is show me one amnesty deal in Zamfara, Katsina, Sokoto, Southeast, wherever in Nigeria, that has produced lasting peace. What we have seen are staged ceremonies, rusty weapons surrendered, violence resuming within months. Security experts across the spectrum argue negotiating with bandits legitimizes criminality. This act doesn't prevent disarmament, demobilization, and reintegration program. It ensures they follow proper protocol, not ad hoc political deal. As I round up finally, these reforms are expensive. That will be the argument of some of you, of my members. I will respond by saying the cost of insecurity far exceeds the cost of reform. Kidnapping, insurance premium, lost agricultural output, displaced population, closed schools, insecurity is bleeding this economy dry. Moreover, this agenda mandates transparency auditing, meaning we will finally know where security funds are actually going. Efficiency, not just expenditure. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for this opportunity. Thank you, honorable members, for listening.
Thank you, the Deputy Speaker. The next to speak will be Honorable Baba Jimmy Benson. At this point, we are kickstarting the committee-led thematic presentations with the Committee on Defense by Honorable Baba Jimmy Benson. After him, Honorable Satome will speak for national security. Then Honorable Mikey will speak for police. Honorable Aminu will speak for Army. Navy will be Honorable Gadi. Air Force will be Honorable Alasan. And Justice, I think, who is speaking for Justice? Honorable Oshoba. That's okay. So please, it will go on in that order. Please go ahead.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, honorable colleagues. But let me begin by commending Mr. Speaker's vision, leadership, and unwavering commitment to the safety of the nation. Mr. Speaker, indeed, we live in very interesting times. It was America who created the word VUCA. So we live in a VUCA world. VUCA means volatile, uncertain, complex, and ambiguous. Mr. Speaker, today, I rise not as the Chairman, House Committee on Defense, but I rise as the voice of millions of Nigerians who yearn for and rightly deserve a nation that is safe, hopeful, united, and prosperous. Mr. Speaker, if you recall the days of yore, the Nigerian military has excelled in many different fronts, including Liberia, including Sierra Leone. We went into those countries with full force and with a full arsenal that were purchased under the regime of President Shagari, I repeat, we went with our full arsenal. We went, we saw, and we conquered. But we did something that no nation would ever do. We were honest. We went there to assist our sister nations. We did not stay to milk and make money out of their predicament. Mr. Speaker, what most nations do, they recoup and they replace their equipment that they've expended in those countries. Nigeria didn't do that. So we are suffering from the decay of trying to replace those equipment till date. It's been a very difficult and onerous task. We have not had friends, indeed, who will support us build the arsenal we had in the days of yore. Mr. Speaker, across the borders of our country, as a result of that, we also have issues from the Sahel region.
Order, please.
We also have issues from the Sahel region. France has left the Sahel countries and there are no boots on the ground there. Those were the armed forces of France used to prevent ISWAP and other extremists from strolling into Nigeria. They are out of that place now. And the countries there are run by military juntas. That's a big problem. We also have the problem of Libya. Ever since Gaddafi has been deposed, Libya has been in a sorry state. Light weapons and heavy-duty weapons have had a free-flow influx into Nigeria, thus exacerbating the original huge problems that we're facing. Mr. Speaker, but despite all these threats, with our strategic leadership, our growing strong institutions, and ongoing reforms, which include, as we speak, there's a grand plan to improve the welfare of the police and the armed forces. As we are here today, there's a committee set up to look into the institutions, the security architecture and institutions, the police barracks, the training institutions. That committee is led by no other than the governor of Enugu State. It's work in progress, Mr. Speaker. Again, the economy, we're hoping to grow our economy into a $1 trillion economy. The process is on. Our exchange rate is stable, our external reserve is growing, but we have frailties.
Honorable Gumi, please approach the chair.
We have frailties which has to do with security. Our security infrastructure, no doubt, needs to be stepped up in order for us to attain the eminence that our good qualities offer. Mr. Speaker, though a bullet can overcome a terrorist, only good governance, opportunity, and inclusion can overcome terrorism. Mr. Speaker, no doubt, we must begin to strengthen intelligence and early warning systems. We must begin with actionable intelligence. No modern security system succeeds without the ability to detect threats before they escalate. The House, with its committee, is working on this. The House is working on strengthening the coordination between the DIA, the DSS, the police, the NIA, and state security units. The House is working assiduously to establish regional intelligence fusion centers across the 6 geopolitical zones. The House is in support of the deployment of modern surveillance technologies, drones, sensors, and data analytics. We are proud of the meeting with the NSA and the trip to America tangible results have been gotten. The American government, as said by our NSA, has signed an MOU with our country to assist in providing actionable intelligence towards eradicating these bandits. Mr. Speaker, security is won not only when information flows seamlessly and rapidly, but when the information is used to take action. In this decade, research results from leading domestic and global security scholars have provided vital information in Nigeria towards peace. Evidence from such studies conclude that 80% of terrorist attacks in Nigeria occur in 3 locations: schools, religious centers, and in farms. Categorizing all schools, religious centers, and farms in each local government area based on their current and projected vulnerability is now a minimum requirement. A risk assessment, low, medium, or high risk of this location must now be a priority. It is something that the House and the Parliament should also ensure is done. Number 2, Mr. Speaker, reforming and repositioning the Nigerian police. Our Nigerian military is not overstretched. The responsibilities of the Nigerian military are overstretched. It is time to restore the police to its rightful place as the first line of internal defense. The House Committee on Defense and other committees will collaborate with the Committee on Police to advance legislation for community and state policing with strong oversight. Modernizing the armed forces. Our military remains courageous and resilient, but they must be armed not only with bravery, but with modern tools. We must immediately invest in modern warfare tools. We must immediately partner with our non-aligned friends, with America, with the EU, with China, with Pakistan.
Honorable Koko, you have been elevated to come and sit on Speaker's seat here. Honorable Koko, you have been elevated, promoted. This is your new seat now.
Let us never forget, security
so that I can
is
see
not
your face very well.
Security is not about how we spend on defense, but about ensuring every citizen
come over here.
feels safe in their home.